It's your boy Roy Jones Jr. and right now you tune into World Combat Sports.
Good morning, everyone. Salute. WCS back on deck again. Big shout out to the supporters as always, man. In here with a quick one. Speaking of a newly released article, right? Keith Oddick, he released, early this morning. And the title is, this is boxing scene, of course. Growing concern on Spence's side that Crawford's team isn't committed to fight. All right. Growing concern on Spence's side that Crawford team isn't committed to fight. Now, language is everything. And of course, when it comes to this matchup right here or this negotiation criteria, it's been ongoing for quite some time. The cup has run it over. You know what I'm saying? The cup has run it over with this with the way this news has been handled and the entire process of trying to make this fight happen. Crawford, 38 victories, 0 defeats, 29 knockouts, Omaha, Nebraska. He's been out the ring for quite some time. You know what I'm saying? He fought last November. So he's approaching, a year, which isn't bad. That's somewhat of a normality for these fighters today, And Errol Spence Jr.'s 28 victories, 0 defeats, 22 knockouts. DeSoto, Texas. You know what I'm saying? He fought Yordenis Ugas at the time back in April. You know what I'm saying? Around April 16th at Dallas Cowboy AT&T Stadium. So the news is, let's get one thing straight with the negotiation process. There's no deadline that was set for this negotiation process. So let's get that understood. The article goes on to say Spence has his own promotional company, Man Down Promotions, but he works with PBC, of course. Founder Al Heyman. Crawford was promoted by Bob Arum, Top Rank, for most of career, but he is promotional free agent because his contract with Arum Company expired after his 10th round stoppage of former IBF WBC champ Sean Porter last November. It goes on to say, if Crawford, the WBO 147-pound champion, and Spence, who owns the IBF, WBA, and the WBC welterweight titles, come to an agreement, the rivals will likely meet in a 12-round pay-per-view main event on an undetermined date in February at the venue to be chosen in Las Vegas. See, I would rather them keep it that way. Likely. You know what I'm saying? Likely doesn't define anything. It doesn't close down and condenses the entire area. You know what I'm saying? That zooms in on the target date or the target location. It doesn't. It just gives you an open-ended, broad, example of what to look forward to. You can make your own assumptions. Likely doesn't do anything. But when it comes to these two names, the speculation has been opposite of that. People try to pretty much put their stamp of approval on information that wasn't validated from the inside out. No one from the team was pretty much putting this information out. The advisors, the managers wasn't putting this information out. So when they say likely meet in a 12-round pay-per-view, yeah, that's going to be somewhere in the future. You know what I'm saying? If it happens, somewhere in the future. It goes on to say Crawford 35 and Spence 32 are commonly considered two of the top 5 fighters pound for pound in boxing. They have publicly expressed their desire to fight each other next, but details of their prolonged negotiation have mostly remained very private over the past few months. Factions of frustrated fans have expressed doubt about Crawford-Spence materializing because negotiations have taken so long, but Spence has conveyed confidence on social media and elsewhere. Neither Crawford nor Spence have publicly discussed specifics related to the negotiation, although Crawford hasn't given any indication that he wants to fight anyone other than Spence. Next. Initially, November 19th was widely reported as the targeted date for their bout. Potential dates early in 2023 became more realistic option once the two sides failed to complete a deal last month. Though, because there wouldn't have been enough time to properly promote a pay-per-view event of that magnitude prior to November 19. Now, it's logical that they would say what they said, right, about the November 19th date. Because, like I said, no one from the team reported November 19th as being a date. But even when Steven Espinosa brought it out and say it still ain't dead, and those dummies still want to report on it as if, yeah, this possibility is going to happen. Well, right here in the article, it says right here, because there wouldn't have been enough time to properly promote a pay-per-view event of that magnitude prior to November 19th. This fight and its entirety, the magnitude of it, has to have proper promotion. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's no timeline for this fight. And for Team Spence to come out and mention that, hey, Crawford, we haven't heard anything. It's been silent over there. Well, we don't know the fine details. We don't know the line for line language. We don't know what, if this is supposed to be true. We don't know what the words are saying. We're not privy to that. We're not in the negotiation room, and we're not on the phone calls, and definitely not having the sidebar conversations with individuals that are close to this. We're not having sidebar conversations, brushing elbows. So for them to come out, the Spencer said they sent over a revised. Revised means nothing. Revised can be, you was getting 35%, so we're going to give you 36%. I mentioned shit about Eddie Hearns, when the way he speaks sometimes, you definitely have to listen to what he's saying, because he was on record as saying, okay, well, we're going to give Deontay Wilder the most money he ever made in his career. Well, the revision was, yeah, you're going to give him the most money he made in his career, but it's peanuts compared to what could be grossed in that particular fight. So when the $12 million came out, that's revised, right? Eddie Hearn say the most money, but it really ain't no money at the end of the day, because the fighters have people to pay. We don't know what the revisions was with Crawford Spence. We don't know. We're still clueless and dumbfounded. We truly understand that if you look back on the previous fighters up to this date, why are there such strict implementation towards Team Crawford to make a fight of this magnitude, an historic event as this? Two fighters that's on the pound for pound list. Why does one fighter have to ultimately suffer heading into one of the biggest fights of his career? And, amongst other speculation that's been out here, the turbulence has been making its rounds over here in the media about certain things that's going on over there at PBC. Like I said before, I cannot provide you a summation of honesty as if I heard it firsthand. I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? I can't do it. I can only come in here and speak about it from what I read from the outside. You know what I'm saying? I can give you a beacon, an opinionated beacon on what I believe. That's all I can do. I can keep the torch lit. But ultimately, this entire topic, when it comes down to who's holding up the fight, can be quite wearisome. You know what I'm saying? Especially to the boxing community. It's taking us down a road, right, that is full of deception, agony, you know what I'm saying, painstaking lie in wait, receipt of information that you really have to decipher through and pick out what's right, what's wrong, and where's the information sourced from. You know what I'm saying? You have to treat that shit like that. And I'm looking at this information coming out with Keith Eidig. I don't put too much into it because if Team Spence sent Crawford a revised contract and they haven't heard anything and there's no deadline to negotiation, so this article isn't a big deal. Every now and then they want to bring it out. You know what I'm saying? They want to bring something new out to the public. And we really don't want to hear anything else new unless it gets us closer to the front door of this fight being announced. That's it. That's it. We've been stewing in this for the longest of time, man. Real talk. We already know how many fights they have. We already know what level they're fighting on. We've already pretty much exhausted all the free storage space that we've used to catalog all this information about this fight for the last several years. We did all that. You know what I'm saying? But the smart media voices like myself, I'm only going to attempt to report on the preponderance. You know, after I've did my research, after I exhausted every measure to know what this article mean, like what is boxing scene talking about? Like, if it's Team Spence putting out information they sent and they haven't heard anything from Crawford? Because look, if they sent them some information and still was far off what the end game is for Team Crawford, then of course they wouldn't respond because it's pointless. It's pointless to respond. You know what I'm saying? So if somebody said, oh, we haven't heard anything, why are you so in a hurry to hear anything? So if you want us to get more clarification, right, why don't you just put a little, information out there to Keith Eidig and let them know the revision that you made. Then we will have something to talk about out here. If you want to damn pump this shit up a good 1 or 2 weeks on YouTube, tell Eidig, okay, we can put this out for public record. We sent back a revision that said this. Let's expedite this shit, cause it's been a room of many mirrors. Let's expedite it. Just tell us what you put on the revision. Then we can kind of have an idea as to why Team Crawford didn't respond. You know what I'm saying? We can't submit paperwork. We can't go ahead and submit requests and say, I want to know what's on that revision that he sent over to Team Crawford. I want to know. I have every right to know. I've spoken about it enough, and goddamn it, I need compensation. So the only thing I'm telling you all, right? Don't get yourself caught up on this zip line again. We've been riding up and down, you know what I'm saying? This zip line of anticipation. Don't read too much into, if they're saying Team Crawford hasn't responded. I don't take it any kind of way. It's business. At this time, you definitely have to make sure you're reading the revisions carefully and that they benefit you. You definitely have to make sure, because we've heard so many rumors going back and forth. You know what I'm saying? We had so many rumors going back and forth about what was being offered, what wasn't being offered. How much money this person will or wouldn't make. It's just too much to deal with, man. So, all I'm saying is the checks and balances, that shit is so far off. You know what I'm saying? We can't check shit. The only thing we can check is what they give us. We can't balance out anything unless we're close to the situation to make sure the shit we balancing has merit to the situation. We don't know what has merit to the situation because we're not there. And the information continued to change with Crawford Spence all the time. I know if Crawford was signing a multi-fight deal, let's just say they would sign a multi-fight deal, I think this would be much easier to allow the ink to dry, to be honest. But all I look at is just been, back and forth, back and forth. And then whenever they want somebody to talk about it, then they put something out, keep Mike Coppinger, Raphael, any one of these people, they want to put something out to try to get us back perked up and leaning in for information. So let's just do this. Let's just, hold tight. You feel me? Let's just hold tight. It's just another article from Boxing Scene that really don't require you to run amok around here and do 10 thumbnails. And people want to get out here. If I say it, they'll do it. You know what I'm saying? And get out here and say, oh, Team Crawford don't want to fight. Oh, they're not responding. We don't know what they're not responding to if it's indeed true. But people come over here and say Team Crawford ain't responding as if it has to do with him not wanting to fight. Come on, man. The man don't even have a promotion behind him. So therefore the leverage is where you always wanted it. Y'all always wanted the leverage to be in the ownership of PBC. You get it, and then they still can't close the deal. Because even just because you have ownership doesn't mean you just present any mediocre deal you want. You know what I'm saying? You just present any deal you want. They read it, digest it, compromise, rescind. You know what I'm saying? It's not the way it works. People just not going to say, okay, this is the biggest fight of my career, and I'm going to genuflect and bow my head and give you and pay homage and, and say, you know what, I'm at your mercy. I honor you, sire. I am at your mercy. That's not the where we at right now in this era. That's just not the way it works, man. Am I still a bit disappointed the fight haven't happened yet? Of course. Of course. You know what I'm saying? Of course. But I also understand what I need to do when I hear this information. I just need to, read into it in depth. Just pace myself. Don't overdo it. Don't inject my own, what ifs or hypotheticals and shit into it. Don't try to pitch a storyline as if shit is true, where it's heading. You know what I'm saying? I mean, don't do it. Just wait for whatever happens. If it's this month, if it's next month, the news is going to come out. Cool. We'll know it. If it's December, we'll know it sooner or later. People go from month to month. That's not good. You pay a lot more for something when it's month to month in certain agreements. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about mentally the price you're paying for the mainstream media and those individuals that release information. They're charging you a heavy price, man, for your month to month anticipation. You need to just sit back, relax. Don't put too much effort into it, because this shit'll stress you the fuck out, man. Just let these people do what they do. You know what I'm saying? And let's see who can make the fight. Real talk. Stop swimming in 2 feet in these boxing aquatics, man. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta stay in there and see what's about to down float in again. Every time you see a meteor rubber ducky come in, you say, oh shit, It's final. Let's go see what the letter says on the ducky. And it ain't shit. Motherfuckers just put another rubber ducky in that bitch and ripple that motherfucker and make it seem like something's interesting. You feel me? Just to get your attention. Leave it alone, man. Just chill. Just leave it alone, man. Just leave it alone. But hey, this ain't too much to talk about. Real talk. This ain't too much to talk about. And I'm gonna let it simmer. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let it fizz out again. I'm gonna let it smolder until they come out with some official news. You know what I'm saying? Expect every now and then. This is the 20th, right? Expect another week or two. I say about a 2-week period for something else to come out in between. You know, hearing this news right here, which isn't any news. You know what I'm saying? When somebody put up their growing concern on Spence side, it's no growing concern. It's no growing concern. Because look, they haven't came close to with all the mediation and everything, they haven't came close to consummating this deal. They haven't came close to it. So how all of a sudden there's concern if you don't have a deadline? Stop the cap. Stop, man. It's no growing concern about nothing. Okay, give us some days that you haven't heard anything. Give us some amount of days you haven't heard anything, and also provide Keith Eidick with some information that you put out to Team Crawford that is allegedly a revision. What is the revision to? Was initially sent that had to be revised. Let's hear that. If you're not willing to give us that, all this is another, balloon in the air type shit, man. You're just letting the motherfucker go, and we look, oh man, it's another balloon in the air shit. We don't know what information you sent to revise of what, because we don't know. And then your growing concern is the what? Because you can break it down even further. If you sent information and they return, right? And they didn't agree with something you had, and it forced you to make a revision, and now you sent those revisions back. Well, how long did it take you to send the revisions back? I want to know. Because Team Crawford didn't send out to Boxing Scene or anything to say, well, we're concerned about Team Spence not sending back a revision. We have a growing concern. So what did you send information and revision to? I need to know the chain of events for me to have this make sense. What did you send a revision to? And how long did it take you to send back this revision once they sent you the information that they didn't agree with? Yeah, we have to put all this timeline shit together, bro. We have to put all this together. Were you on time? Or it's just because Team Crawford didn't put anything out to the media? But yet, we get this shit at Boxing Team talking about the growing concern on Spence side. The Crawford team isn't committed. What is the timeline on this for a team to be committed on submitting a reply to your revision? Have both of you all followed a standard time to return information to one another? What's the time? What's the time? Where's it in the article? Where is it in the article? What date did you send this information? I don't want, I don't want this, this like one-sided. The sun is shining on one side of this damn article right here. No, we need to shine light on both sides. Like, do y'all have a timeline set to reply to one another? Because if you do, okay, it will make sense to say, okay, I'm concerned, but at least give us an indication on what that timeline consists of. How many hours, days, what is the timeline to return this information to one another? And if you're saying that you have concern about Crawford, well, I want to know if they ever was waiting or had information pending for you to send them back information dealing with this contract or whatever the case it was. How long did it take Team Spence to send back their information? And does it exceed what you're concerned about right goddamn now? This bullshit that come out talking about growing concern. What's the growing concern, man? Encapsulate it. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Give us something. Give us something, man. Let's do a roundabout here. Let's try to figure this shit out. You can't put information out and try to get, us restless out here again. For what? We already been here, done that. For what? We want to get to the core of what's going on. If something concerns you about the revision, have you met their revisions in a timely manner? You know what I'm saying? And what was the information that y'all revising? That's all I need to know. I need to know a little bit more than just the surface details. It's not enough. It's not enough for me, like many other people on the outside looking in, reading an article like this and then, run with it. I know some people will put it up as they see fit, man. You can't stop it. But that's all I had for this live. It just, I look at this whole situation as a way to point the finger once again. It brings us no closer to anything. Let me go get the chat. Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, and more. Salute to you, Bruce. Andrew Charles on deck. Bill's on deck. Salute to you, Mr. Pass on deck. Don Vaughn on deck. Town Business Sports Entertainment. My guy on deck, man. What's good, soldier? How you feeling? He said another desperate attempt to save face by Team Spence, Al Heyman, and PBC. Talk to him, Town. You know what I'm saying? He said also Al Heyman's name wasn't mentioned nowhere in the article. And we know they can't make a move without Al Heyman. Well, they did mention his name to a point there, Town. They said they made a point to clarify. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't put nothing in here about freaking Spence without putting his name in there, Town. You can't do it. You know what I'm saying? But they made it a point to mention Spence has his own promotional company, Man Down Promotions, but he works with Premier Boxing Champions founder Al Heyman, his long time. They gotta put, Town, they gotta put his name in there, dog. They got to. They can't say anything about Spencer. They gotta inject that little droplet, like they have to put his name and everything. Like people already know him so much, but they have to put it in there, bro. You know what I'm saying? They have to, bro. W says, obviously you are way more updated on what's going on with the fight. However, as an outsider, I feel that since Spence, Bud, and Arum have all talked about it, Heyman must be the major reason. That's what a lot of indications lead to. You know what I'm saying? People want to lean heavy to one side and point the finger. I do. I mean, sometimes I've done it because we have to go back a little ways where Crawford was signed to Top Rank. Crawford has his final fight with Sean Porter at Top Rank. He said what he said. If he couldn't make the fight, all the shit that happened. If he couldn't make the fight when I was signed with him, how you gonna make the fight when all this shit, right? Well, with all the space, you know what I'm saying? With all the space that Crawford's been able to cover and trying to go over there to PBC and get with these people and, him and his manager and all that. The only movement and activity on a consistent basis that I've seen with this whole entire situation is right here in the media. That's the only traction that I see. And you know what that traction remind me of? A burnout. You know what I'm saying? When you hold the brake down and you press the pedal and you just spin out in place and you smoke it up. Yeah, it looks like a lot is going on. You know what I'm saying? It looks like it's activity. Something's happening. It looks like a burnout to me. And it continue to be a burnout. I'm not going to be impressed until, somebody release the brake and I see actually forward progress, bro. I see movement, the official announcement for the hold up, because I believe he's the only one that hasn't said anything. Well, Al Heyman ain't going to say anything. If you really want to make this fight one of the biggest ever, all you got to do is get Al Heyman to come out from the shadows and goddamn speak and be at the fight. Shit. But I'm not gonna be the one of the bearer of this news that I hear. I heard a lot about why he doesn't show his face. You know what I'm saying? I'm not about to put myself in the position. I heard a lot about why he don't show his face, man. You know what I'm saying? Why he's not out in public on a regular basis like he is. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm gonna talk to my people again. I'm gonna seek about that information. I'm gonna talk to them, see can I put that information out there. Real talk. I've been watching boxing for 40 years and I've never seen anything like this. Yeah, it seems like everybody and their mama, when it comes to this type of equation, we have two fighters that's at the the highest tier of their career. They're on the pound for pound list. They've been champions. You know what I'm saying? They are champions, right? All right? They are champions, right? It seems like everybody else is in this same type of equation. They end up giving us results that we want. Those results are them stepping in the ring and fighting. We've seen, I don't know how many motherfucking undisputed fights go down, man. From 68 to 54 to 40 to 35. We've seen this shit go down, man. We've seen so many go down. And then we're about to possibly see it go down to 122 and 118. It all depends. We might even see it at 175 if they get that shit straightened out. Depends on who win between Bivol and Ramirez. But my point is, we've had all these fights, right? It's only so many divisions in boxing. But we had so many dang undisputed title matches happen. And they went off without a hitch. We had fighters fight each other in trilogies. That's a part of history now. That's done and over. You know what I'm saying? Trilogies and shit. Rematches. We even had Canelo Alvarez. You know what I'm saying? Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin finished their trilogy. We even had Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin finish their trilogy. Before, we had one fight in a possible trilogy of Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. We've had Gennady Golovkin and Saul Canelo Alvarez complete a full trilogy even after the rematch, having like 7 to 8 fights in between or whatever, complete their trilogy and still no Crawford Spence. That shit is wild, man. Andrew say next week be an article saying they tried to call Bud, but it went straight to voicemail. man, stop the madness, man. Stop it. Stop it, man. You're right, though, dog. You're right. Shout out to my guy, Shaw News and Sauce Experience, a.k.a. Showtime Shaw on deck. Salute to you, brother. Spence Crawford is biggest fight that can't be made. Oh man, it's you know every time I see an article come out, they act like it's heavy news, man. Okay, we had enough of the heavy news, man. The rabbit punches, man. Hooks to the body. You know what I'm saying? Even some low blows, man. We've heard that already. The low blows, false ass dates, July 4th, or false dates, fake ass news put out. You feel me? Like we've had the low blows happen to us already with this media shit. We've seen it. But now you want to come out with an article and talking about, growing concerns on Spence side that Crawford's team isn't committed to the fight. What are they committing to? Show me some timelines that y'all agreed to. Show me the information for which was originally sent from Team Crawford that you all had to revise. And how long was the return time? Okay, how long was the time? I want to say TTL, but a lot of people may not know what TTL is. Being that I'm an IT guy, TTL is the ping. How long it take for that ping to go from point A to B back to A. TTL is something that if you went into the config and you actually pinged a certain device, it'll give you the TTL, time to live. So I want to know what the TTL is from the time they sent those revisions back to you all and what time it took for you all to return them back to them. Okay, so now you saying you sent those revisions back. How long has it been? How many hours, days, months? How long has it been? Because I want to know what you're concerned about. How long did it take for you to send those revisions back? And then how long have you been waiting? If you've been waiting and it doesn't supersede or it doesn't exceed the amount of time it took for you to send their revisions back, then shut the fuck up. You're just out here fronting. I wanna know the whole timeline. Show us the timeline, goddammit. Timestamp it. You might have took forever to send them some bullshit back. And then to be honest, it would be nice if we actually, can get you to tell IDIC and all these other guys a little bit more details. Well, it was a problem with the percentage or, the gross to net situation that was still in, like negotiation, the gross to net, the percentage on the back end. If he's getting the net, they're still trying to work on the percentage. You know what I'm saying? Something of that nature. Let us know some information. Just don't leave us out here in the dark. We've been walking around with flashlights forever since this topic hit. We're tired. Y'all heard Heyman's brother was a former boxer who got screwed. So Heyman got into the boxing business to do it his way. Well, I'm gonna tell you one allegedly. No, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait. But hey, thanks for putting that out there, man. I'm gonna wait on that. I gotta make some phone calls. I'm gonna wait on that. And this is information I've been having a while as to why he don't show his face out there. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. How can I word this? Because it's very important. I want to put it out here while it's fresh on this Thursday. You know what I'm saying? How can I word this without it being taken the wrong way? I'll get back with y'all on that. No, this is how I'm going to word it. Allegedly, because allegedly separates me from any liability, at least 100% of liability. But allegedly, one of the reasons as to why Al Heyman remains in isolation or seclusion is the fact that if he was out in public like that, there would be allegedly individuals that he's done business with and they wasn't properly compensated for their business. And there's papers that's waiting to be served allegedly for certain legal repercussions, allegedly, from Mr. Heyman. I've heard he doesn't go out like that because they are several alleged individuals out there business-wise that want to serve him papers for legal. You know what I'm saying? You get the picture, right? They want to take him to court. Allegedly. And that was a last trilogy on Earth anybody wanted. Dang, I never thought of it like that. Someone doesn't want this fight to happen. Someone doesn't want, you know what I'm saying? Someone, yeah. Floyd gonna have another exhibition before the fight versus Crawford. Man, Floyd's would have had like 10 Japanese fighters on his resume before this fight happened. You know what I'm saying? He gonna have 10 fighters on his exhibition resume before this fight happened. For real. He's making money though. He must be making so much money over there that Japanese dude threw the flowers down at his feet. You know, I wouldn't have cared, you know, because Floyd, if he's getting millions like they say he is, what's the point of somebody throwing flowers down at my feet? I can care less about that. I'm getting paid. Hey, Debbie says, when exactly was it that people were seriously talking about this fight? I heard someone say they remember the talk starting October 16th. To put the exact year, it depends on when the, you know, who you know, what group she was in, what social media footprint that she was frequent on a regular. You know, was it Facebook or YouTube? Because, you know, Facebook groups get a little bit different than YouTube. It is. It's a different community. So it depends on where you was at, man. It depends on where you was at. Because, you know, in recent years, YouTube has picked up. But at a time, Facebook was heavy. You know, and the community is different over there. It's a lot of people, it's a lot of people that's on Facebook that frequent Facebook only. They don't fuck with YouTube. And there's a lot of people on YouTube that fuck with YouTube and Facebook. You know what I'm saying? It's people that's on Facebook that just stays tuning in to groups on Facebook that be talking about certain fights and certain conversations, and they really don't fuck around and come over here on the YouTube streets like that. So they may hear a certain portion of information or whatever, but we all know, you know, it's the YouTube streets are you have to walk with caution over this motherfucker. You have to proceed with caution over here. You can't believe everything you see. So I couldn't put a year on it. I know I would say a minimal. Of 5 years. A minimal of 5 years. But, you know, like I said before, it depends on where you was at, man. It depends on where you was at. I know a lot of people when Crawford was fighting for the undisputed for Julius Ndongo. I know you can take it back to 2017 because that pretty much gave us the confirmation that Crawford, now that he was undisputed, he was moving up to 147. So when they decided, when he defeated Julius Ndongo in 2017, now people start talking about him fighting Errol Spence. But at that time, you know, the belt thing, hey, get a belt. And, you know, these fighters was busy trying to build up their championship and all that shit. That's when the talks began. You know, Julius Ndongo fight, him unifying, vacating the belts and moving up the damn welterweight. The talks begin. So I'll take it back to 2017. Because they was talking about, oh, man, you know, Terrence Crawford moving up. Man, we'd like to see him face Spence and all that. Yeah, that's when the talk started. 2016, you know, I mean, he was still trying to, you know, get all the belts and everything. So I don't know, man. I can't take it back that far. I have to take it back to Julius Ndongo when he fought for the undisputed. That's it. Alexander, what's good? G Money, what's good? Salute. Big Blunts and Boxing on deck. What's good with it, bro? Look, I think I first heard fans talk about it in 2017. I have to take it back to 2017 when he was on the brink of leaving the junior welterweight division. You know, when they started talking about him going in there fighting Dongo, especially after he beat him. Yeah, man, them talks was heavy. They thought this Spence Crawford would be happening really soon because he was moving up. That wasn't the case. What's good? Saw a video WCS played last night back when he was getting jumped up here to be and Drew Bill Haney. So your name was in the chat. Talking shit. WCS, you remember that? Let me see. Yeah, Blunts. That was like 2+ years ago when I was in the LDBC. At least, hey, Pass. At least he owned up to it. And, you know, just think how many times I looked at that video and a lot of people, I would say this, a lot of people that was talking shit in that chat is not over here. He's probably the only ones that's over here. Real talk. Real talk. He's probably the only one. But you know, you got eyeballs like Blunts that pick that shit out. Look, he picked that shit right out, man. I'm telling you. That's how the YouTube streets are, man. YouTube have different boulevards. You know what I'm saying? You got the panel and then you got the chat. The chat is like the alleyways. Motherfuckers just goddamn hang out, become transit pedestrians, you know, having sidebar conversations and just be talking reckless because they think nobody see them, you know? But like he said, man, hey, that was 2+ years ago. And, you know, he's been cool. But I know a lot of people that was on, you know, in there talking shit. I knew them verbatim. I knew who they were. So when they dropped through here, I know what it is, man. And a lot of them I blocked. I didn't even tell them I was blocked. When they showed their face, boom, I blocked their ass, man. Pass it. I remember it. No worries. I saw Trick over there too, man. I was like, damn, you know. Trick come over here every now and then. You know what I'm saying? But Mr. Pass is one that frequent all the time. You know what I'm saying? Bruce Gaz, he said he didn't remember. He was in there, but he wasn't on that time, though. Bruce wasn't on that time. He was just in the chat. Yeah, like, look, man, you know, you do what you want. Just like I would say, I do what I want. But, you know, certain individuals try to, you know, get at people who's in other people's chat, which I feel is just petty. You know what I'm saying? I just feel it's petty. I just feel it's like a rap mentality at the end of the day that people looking out strictly for themselves. So they want to make a big deal and say, you know, don't go over there to that person's live stream and nothing like that. Don't go over there. We screenshot. Nigga, if you screenshot me being in somebody else's chat and you blocking me, then I don't need to be in your shit. I don't need to be supporting you. That's all I gotta say, dog. You know. Blunts, it was never a debate about Teofimo, bro. I was disrespectful and apologized quickly after, and it was cordial after that. Then I started coming over here. Oh, it was disrespectful over there. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of people being disrespectful for real. And look, that's just the wave on how it is. You know, like people was doing what they was doing back then. Look, it's been so many ebbs and flows in this YouTube shit. It gets crazy. You know what I'm saying? With the panels, with people, you know, severing relationships and communication with one another, reestablishing them, and all this other back and forth ebbs and flow. But I would say all the people in me that I've cut off, I don't fuck with like that. I would say about 97%. I don't fuck with. You know, the people who comes up here and they'll make up shit, I just don't reconnect. There's no reason for me to reconnect. But it is what it is, man. That video was a while ago, like I said. It's respect for Bill and what he does for his son, because who am I to tell him anything less than what he's been able to do? But back then, I don't recant anything that I said to him at the time, because that's the way I felt. That's the way I felt wholeheartedly. I felt that way. If look, people get on here and praise other men for talking shit to another man and feel that, oh man, you getting bodied, you getting cooked, but when this man was chilling and I didn't say much, I was keeping it cool, they didn't respect it. You know what I'm saying? They call you all sorts of, call you out your name and all this shit. But when you really turn up on them, you say, okay, now it's time to give them back. Just think how long that video's been. And at that time, I said, you know what? I'm going to keep it what it is. I'm going to keep it nice. I'm going to be respectful. But you notice at that point in time, BF was disrespectful. I said I had respect, but he wasn't. He didn't give a fuck about the respect. He just wanted to come in there and talk shit. And we was both veterans at one point in time. I didn't bring up none of his shit. I didn't do any of that. I was just keeping the peace. I was like, all right, okay, cool, all right. But I still bodied his ass though. But that more recent time, I was on a different type of temperature then, because it was time. You know what I'm saying? Looking back, sometimes you just don't engage everybody that needs to be engaged. You just let them go. You know what I'm saying? Let them do what the fuck they want to do until they try to make it seem like it's personal. You know what I'm saying? Once you make it personal and you really hoping and wishing for an invitation, I'm an RSVP it. I'm an RSVP that shit, real talk. But that's been so long ago, man. And Teofimo was at 135, and it was what I was at the time. I was supporting Tio, and a lot of them cats that was up there going against Teofimo Lopez to support Devin Haney. They was the same one going for Lomachenko when Lomachenko fought Teofimo. So it's come on, man. It's a quagmire, man. You was in a predicament. You just didn't like Tio because the back and forth they had with Devin Haney. So what you did was you say, I don't respect him being a boxer and all this other shit. I'm going to go for Lomachenko. The shit make absolutely no sense to me at all, bro. It's not supposed to make sense to me. You're not a fan of the fighter, but you're willing to support another fighter because this fighter that they're in the ring with has a connection with not giving the fighter that you favor attention, not giving them what they want. It makes zero sense. Tio was playing around back and forth. I was there for all that. I was there when they met in Vegas. I told y'all that. I was very well connected to the entire situation when they met in Vegas and they had the conversation. Devin wasn't a champion. Tio wasn't a champion. And they was conversing, and I seen something. The conversation popped up about who makes more money and this, that, and the other. And Tio said what he said, but he didn't keep hyping on it. You know what I'm saying? They didn't push each other. That's a playback in time, man. I saw these dudes, that's a playback in time. They wasn't even champions. Look where their career at now, man. You know what I'm saying? Tio got there first. But Devin is here. You know what I'm saying? You got to call it for what it is. Yeah, I criticized the shit out of his resume back then. Yeah, I did. I criticized what I seen in front of me. I criticized his performances, all that shit. But turn on the windshield wipers and clean that shit up. You got to call it for what it is, man. Now it comes down to a respect thing. When I say respect, it comes down to a respect on how people are going to view his next move. Because he completed the Aussie double. And this is my take on that stems back to what happened on the video. On the video, the conversation was about Tio losing to Devin Haney. That's not the conversation no more. That's not the conversation no more. Because Tio is not the 135, and he's not coming back down to 135, period. So the conversation now goes back to the inception of why the beef was really out there. The beef wasn't Tio. It was Lomachenko and Devin Haney. But they didn't keep the same temperature. They didn't keep the same heat with the Lomachenko deal. You know what I'm saying? They just started to say, okay, now that Tio has taken from Lomachenko, let's divert our attention to Teofimo Lopez. So the back and forth, countless hours into the AM, back and forth, man, all the verbal wars that went on about this, and this. Who gonna fight what? And Bill was a part of that history. Bill spent a lot of hours on YouTube, man. Like, he's built for the YouTube streets, man. He said he was from the streets. He built for the YouTube street. He was out here with all the back and forth, him and Lopez Sr. talking. But look, from the inception, we're back from the inception where all this started. Lomachenko was elevated to the franchise belt. You heard Rick Glaser say some shit about a man in New York that Team Haney made a deal to get the WBC title, and they was going the other route. I mean, a lot of hocus pocus behind the scenes, grip and grin, under the table handshakes, and all this shit went down to the point where Lomachenko was elevated to the second franchise champion, and the whole end game was for him to go in there and fight Tio for the IBF title. Why didn't he just keep the WBC title? This where everything comes into play right here, right now, what we're talking about with Devin Haney facing Lomachenko next. Why didn't Lomachenko keep the WBC title? He chose to get off of it and vacate it, right? So being that he was elevated to franchise champion, and he went on to fight Teofimo and lost with no rematch clause, brings us back to this point now. People are asking, if Devin Haney doesn't fight Lomachenko and moves up to 140, is it a duck? I was there for all of this whole process to happen. That's why I was so adamant with jumping on the panel, talking about it, because Tio was getting all this hate. And I won a lot of money off that fight. So we at a point right now where people saying, oh, Devin Haney, if he don't fight Lomachenko, it's a duck. It's not a duck. Because I've been in several debates about this situation. It was nothing on paper that said Devin Haney. I even said it on the panel. I told Bill this and he agreed. Y'all wasn't locked in to face Lomachenko. But Lomachenko made it perfectly clear that he was going to separate himself from you all having any type of window or door to get close to him to fight when he had the titles. So he was elevated to franchise. Boom, it's done. Over. Now you're saying if Devin Haney don't fight Lomachenko, it's a duck. It's not a duck. It's pretty much giving him the same medicine that he gave Devin Haney when he was in the shoot. That's just my opinion, people. I call this shit the way it is. That's my opinion. I was there from all this shit way before it even got to that point. Way before any of them had titles. I was there knowing the WBC tournament was falling out. All the conversation that was behind the scenes, that the WBC tournament, I was talking with Tio's people on the route they was going to take before it hit the news. When they said he was taking the IBF route. I say, why? Explain to me what they're trying to do, because he's going to get the fight with Lomachenko. The only person that was really talking about the Lomachenko fight was his pops. Lopez Sr. was letting the public know that they're going to fight Lomachenko. They're going to fight Lomachenko. But the public wasn't even really paying attention, or they didn't give a damn about it because they thought he was a loudmouth. But no. Tio got lined up for Masayoshi Nakatani for a title eliminator. That separates this entire debate, because Tio went in there and fought for a title eliminator, whereas Devin and Zario Abdullayev, they fought for a freaking interim title. Done. It's over. It's over. Teofimo wins, gets Comey, finish him, and go in there and fight Lomachenko. Now what we have Devin Haney waiting in the chute at that time. Now that has been done, over, however it played out, they took the low ball offer. You have to commend them for that. They went over there to Australia where Bill wasn't over there the majority. You have to commend them for that. They won the first fight with no rematch clause. Commend them for that. They won the second one. Easy. Commend them for that. So all the criticism that I gave them back then, right, that was for that moment. That's not criticism I'm going to carry forward over to now, like it pertains to the situation of Devin Haney not being worthy of being the undisputed champion. He does. But what does carry forward that people need to understand is that Devin Haney vacating the belts and moving up to 140, don't giving Lomachenko a shot, it's not a duck at all, man. It's not. In my opinion, it's not. It's not a duck. It's just a previous situation playing itself out again. Real talk. That's all it is. All it is. It's just a 360-degree visitation that has came full circle back to where it used to be, but with different role players. Lomachenko isn't in front no more. He isn't the front runner. Devin Haney is. You see how that works? Lomachenko doesn't even have a belt. Devin Haney does. He has all the fucking belts. So if he was to just vacate them titles and move up, I'll be perfectly fine with it. And plus, the public, they're going to find out they're going to be perfectly fine because they do their fucking homework. It's nothing you can say. So we don't know. I mean, look, Devin Haney has made it a point to say that he's going to stay here at 135, so that's enough of that. I don't think he's vacating. He said he's going to stay here at 135. But the biggest part of what I'm hearing on other channels speak on, right, is that they're curious to know. I mean, it's all this conspiracy shit going on again, that they trying to rob him. You can't rob him. You can't rob him of what he already has. He's a part of history. You can't rob him. You can't rob him. He's a part of the four-bear era. You can't rob him of anything. Not only has he won the titles, he's defended them. Now it takes us to this. If Lomachenko, is he going to be able to get past Jermaine Ortiz? If he doesn't get past Jermaine Ortiz, then the next name that they're trying to bring up, which is currently a resident, making his debut, is Shakur Stevenson at the 135-pound division. If Lomachenko don't beat Jermaine Ortiz, I'm pretty sure we're going to see a big fight come up sometime or another. You know, Shakur Stevenson may take a warm-up. He don't need it. But, you know, he just came off from beating an Olympian, right? Right? He himself is an Olympian, but he just came off defeating an Olympian, right? So he don't really need a warm-up to me. But let's just say he does take one. Lomachenko loses Jermaine Ortiz. It would be good for them to try to set up a Devin Haney versus Shakur Stevenson. Because right now, people are looking at it like, well, he has Lomachenko next because it's part of the top-ranked deal. Yes, but if he doesn't defeat, he being Lomachenko, Jermaine Ortiz, that could derail everything that's going on with this third fight. Because people up here putting conspiracy into it and say, oh, they trying to rob him now. They want Lomachenko to be undisputed. Well, guess what? He was damn near there. All he had to do is fight Teofimo Lopez. But there was something arranged. Just think about it. Why would he vacate and people say, oh, well, he didn't want to face it? Come on now. Come on, man. We can't say who he didn't want to face, who Lomachenko didn't. He didn't have to face. He wasn't mandated to face. He told Mauricio Suleiman, and it was agreed upon after he picked up the WBC belt that he defeated Luke Campbell in the vacant title. He said he wasn't fighting for the rest of the year. Now, people can come up with their own conclusions to well, he had an injury. He ain't had no fucking injury. He just made his point saying, I'm not fighting because they had some other shit in the works. So in between time, they elevated him to the franchise championship. That's it. And I followed that whole deal, man. They was hating on T.O. hard, man. They was hating on him hard. You know what I'm saying? I made it perfectly clear. I wasn't a representative for the team, but I did know a lot of information though from talking to people on the team now. You know what I'm saying? I knew a lot of information. It was cool times. I'm not gonna lie, it was cool times rocking with them. Before they picked up the championship and everything, and seeing that play out the way it did. W says, you remember the days where people were talking about Gary Russell Jr. versus Haney as well. They got disrespectful too. They got real disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? I was there for that too. I saw how many hours that was invested. With Batman going to Bill, and then every now and then Gary Russell would pop up on a live, and then him and Bill would go at it. Man, that shit right there, boy. Do you know how many hours that took out people's lives? Not so much Gary Russell, but Batman and Bill. Batman and Bill and all these fucking channels. That took hours and days out their fucking life. Because that shit was going on from the AM into the late AM to the early afternoon, late afternoon to the early evening to the late evening. That's how much they was talking about it. But I told people, I said, this is not happening. This fight with Gary Russell and Devin Haney isn't happening, y'all. They are not going to release their November 7th date with Yorkis Gamboa. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it, and they never did. But people didn't want to see through that because they just liked the entertainment value that was going on YouTube. They like to see that. I mean, it was like hundreds of debates about this shit, man. And then Crawford's name was put into the mix. And then Keith Thurman came into the mix. And then Gary Russell said he'll move up to 147 and face Crawford. I mean, that shit was just berserk, man. That was mayhem on this YTC shit. W says, from what I gather on YouTube, it seems very even in terms of people that want the Loma fight and the Shakur fight. This is my take where it's at right now, right? Who would I want to see? Okay, so let's put, Devin Haney, Lomachenko, or Shakur Stevenson, Lomachenko. If I'm playing the advocate, if I'm just playing my cards right on building up a so-called another pre-mega fight, I would want to see Shakur Stevenson fight Lomachenko first. And whoever the winner of that fight gets to fight for the championship. I would want to see Shakur Stevenson fight Lomachenko first, and then the winner fights Devin Haney for the titles. That's all I'm saying. Because you're talking about a two-weight champion, three-weight champion. You know what I'm saying? Both of these guys have been unified. Both of these guys, Shakur Stevenson and Lomachenko, have been unified. I would just want to see the build up that way because I believe Haney has earned the right to sit back and face the winner of. You know what I'm saying? If that's the case, he's earned the right. He completed in the Outback. He's competed twice and won twice. He would go down as one of the best Australian boxers ever. You know what I'm saying? 2-0. So now he can sit back and go ahead. Sign on a fight where the winner fights for the undisputed. But I know it's not going to happen like that. There's too much time in between. If Lomachenko is fighting Jermaine Ortiz and then he go fight, what is Haney gonna do? Who is he gonna fight? Because whoever he fights is gonna be for the titles. So easy he take a soft touch, or he fights somebody with merit, and that requires waiting around for that shit to happen. That requires waiting for that to materialize. If you want to shake up the 135-pound divisions and give us a fight that we haven't seen in a minute outside of Teofimo Lopez and Lomachenko, let's build it up this time. The fight with Lopez and Lomachenko, it really didn't build up. Like it could have blossomed into something amazing. It didn't build up the way it should. But now, after everything we've seen, you know what I'm saying? You still got Gervonta down there. I'm just saying. I don't know what Gervonta got going on. I know I'm hearing he's not signed with Mayweather. He's signed straight to Showtime now. Good. But it feels like in-house. It feels like in-house possible that we can see that trio fight each other. Either Devin Haney and Lomachenko or Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson. I don't see Shakur Stevenson fighting Lomachenko immediately because he's supposed to be locked in to fight on Devin Haney after the Ortiz. So listen, I'm going to tell y'all some other shit too. If Ortiz go in here and get taken out in short fashion, I'm going to call bullshit, dog. If he comes in and does a Custio Clayton, I'm going to call bullshit because they want to see the undisputed titles. They want to see a fight for the undisputed fight titles. So if Ortiz goes in there and look like Custio Clayton did against freaking Jerron Ennis, man, I'm going to say, all right, bullshit, dog. He received this orders, fuck it. Yeah, the discussion back then was about money. Either Haney or Russell wanted like $2 million. I think because in the previous fight, the opposition got like 1.5 or something. Money wouldn't have made a difference. They wasn't going to drop that damn Jokic Gamboa fight. They wasn't going to drop that fight. Not for Gary Russell. They wasn't going to do it, bro. Haney should do what Keith Thurman did to Errol Spence. I don't see what it proves. I get where you're coming from. And listen, I can understand where it gets to a point where you want to say na boo boo, right? You want to say, aha, you know, it's my turn now. But what you're doing is you're really screwing over yourself from getting the bag. You know what I'm saying? It's a business, right? It's a business. And the consumers that put money into that business want to see the fighters fight the best fights. So if Errol Spence returns the favor for an extended period of time, it's going to be the exact same shit that another fighter was doing in the Charlo with Demetrius Andrade. I really don't see this going on in boxing except with black fighters. So when it comes down to this right here, to be honest with you, bro, I haven't really heard a lot of people say what you just said. I'm not saying it don't make sense. I'm just saying they're not even saying that. It's just they know that Devin just completed defending his titles. It's almost like they want him to be tested again to go in there with Lomachenko. They want him to. I'm not convinced. Instead of saying what you just said. Because in reality, even though Devin Haney wasn't locked in to face Lomachenko back then, Lomachenko did separate himself from having any responsibility to face Devin Haney by petitioning for the freaking franchise belt. Because they had T.O. in mind and not Devin Haney. So all the back and forth, a lot of people knew that Devin Haney wasn't getting a shot back then. But now that he has the belts, I wonder how much leverage does he have? I wonder how much leverage he has. That's all I'm saying. How much leverage does he have to do Lomachenko like Keith Thurman did Errol Spence? I don't think he has that leverage, bro. Seriously. I think it's a whole different scenario we're talking about. He doesn't have the leverage to do that. He doesn't, man. And just to think, both of these fighters, Keith Thurman and Errol Spence, was under the same banner, under the same promotional banner when all this shit was taking place. But I doubt right now he can do that to a fighter like Lomachenko, bro. Errol Spence wasn't really established back then to make any power moves to get Keith Thurman to do anything. Keith Thurman was one time. That man was damn unified welterweight world champion. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't make Keith do anything. He can try to call him out in front of everybody. He can try to do that. But it didn't mean shit because nothing happened. He didn't get a step closer to doing anything. And look, what if Keith Thurman would have gave him the opportunity back then? We don't know how the shit would have played out. What if Errol would have took an L back then with Keith Thurman? Because Keith Thurman was boxing back then before he went on his hiatus. You know, like the reason why he didn't give him the energy that he needed by signing the papers. He might have been injured. Who knows what was going on with one time? Who knows, bro? But you know, Devin can't do what Keith Thurman was doing. Not the way he got the titles. There's a lot of people still out here that despise of the way they do business. I don't agree with everything that Bill says or does or whatever. But that's not my focus point. All I'm saying is they got the shit right now. And even with the titles and the way it is, people can't still think this is the same guy who was coming off a win with Jokic Gamboa. It's not, man. This is not the same guy who fought Alfredo Santiago, Zaul Abdullayev, and his resume was mediocre, subpar, marginal. It's not the same guy. But I can tell you this, he can't go in there and do the same thing Keith Thurman was doing to Errol Spence and do it to Lomachenko. That shit ain't happening. They ain't gonna allow it to happen because they trying to get Lomachenko back into the picture, dog. He don't have long left in the sport. He's already been unified at 135. Y'all have to understand that. Who knows what would have happened if Lomachenko never requested to become the franchise championship? How is that shit ever would have played out, man? How would it have ever played out? We don't know what direction would have went. I still think they would have went to TO and whatever else was going on. We don't know how it would have went, man. But we all know that at one point in time, he would have had to face Devin Haney. At one point in time, he would have had to face Haney. But since Mauricio Suleiman is good with inserting obstacles that benefit certain fighters, the franchise belt was that. I like to see Shakur versus Kambosos winner against Haney versus Loma winner. I mean, I like that. That'll definitely give Shakur a common opponent, you know what I'm saying, of both fighters. I like that. It would give him a common opponent of Haney, and then give him a common opponent of Loma. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? What CIP just mentioned, other fighters have did it. You feel me? Let's just go back to the two opponents Lomachenko had. He fought two common opponents of Teofimo Lopez. He fought Masayoshi Nakatani and Richard Comey. Yes, sir. So that's why it makes sense to what CIP was just saying. Because common opponents is a thing, right? Terrence Crawford, before he fought the Kell Brook and Sean Porter, what were they saying? Oh, man, he ain't fought nobody. He need to fight a common opponent of Spence. He need to do this, this, and this. Because a lot of people that Terrence Crawford fought in the welterweight division hasn't been in the ring with Errol Spence. Seriously. And at that time, Crawford haven't really dove into some common opponents of Errol Spence. It was just amazing. So finally he got Kell Brook and freaking Sean Porter. The same thing in this case. If Shakur Stevenson is able to face Kambosos, yeah, that's fresh. Who can do it better? You know that's going to be the talk. Who can do this shit better? We know Devin Haney went the distance twice. Who can do it better? Can Shakur go in there and stop? You know, Shakur Stevenson go in there and stop Kambosos. Ooh, people going to really start to want to see this fight. They really going to want to see this fight. They really going to want to see this fight, man. So let's just say Lomachenko wins. I just say Lomachenko wins. People are going to want to see that fight. You got the disco lights going in the 135-pound division right now. I'm telling you, that's a damn good idea. I like it. I like that shit, man. Shakur versus Kambosos win against Haney Loma win. I like it. Real talk. Shout out to Candy Slim on deck. He said, why does the all-time great Vasily Lomachenko need a tune-up to face a 23-year-old kid with no punching power? Loma has been knowing Devin is a problem. Okay, let me just try to break this down on what you meant. So you're saying he's an all-time great. Okay, that's your opinion. The man is 16-2, and his resume is okay. All right, he has two common opponents recently, Richard Comey and freaking Masayoshi Nakatani. So just because he fought Luke Campbell, was that consider him an all-time great? Jorge Linares? I mean, what is considered him an all-time great? The gold medals? I know it ain't going to be Orlando Salido. You're talking about a guy who fought in a series and then try to come over where they can now record his professional fights and still failed at becoming the quickest to earn a world championship in 2 professional fights and failed. You think Orlando Salido didn't know about that? And he did everything in his power to prevent it from happening. It worked. Now he's tied. You know what I'm saying? And then not only that, you know, the situation that happened between him and G. Russell, I don't know, man. This is your opinion, bro. I ain't going against the grain with you, like, you know, too deep. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about this tune-up. Like, you got to understand, like, him coming back, we don't know the training regime that he had over there when he was supposedly in comeback on the security detail. We don't know the type of training he didn't receive over there. You know, they say he was on the security detail, but when I go to combat, when I went to combat, I didn't have all that luggage with me. I had sea bags. It wasn't no luggage. It was sea bags. And you had that big-ass rucksack on your motherfucking back. It wasn't no goddamn Bahamas luggage. What the fuck are we talking about? And your uniform was either physical fitness gear, shorts, and a green T-shirt, or your uniform. It wasn't no, you know, get dressed and put on some motherfucking your nice focals, your butt nakeds, you know what I'm saying, shades on, and get dressed in civilian attire and go out to the club. No. We was in combat. We wasn't on the deployment where we was just there and we had liberty at 1600 and you go out for the night. No, we was in combat, y'all. Did you see the report that Champside did earlier talking about the Bud on EJ fight? Enlighten me. Because, listen, I don't check out everybody's shit. I do. I have to read up on MMA too. And the BJJ comps is going on and stuff like that. But to be honest with you, BIG, the answer is no. So enlighten me. They got vids for Loma on Top Rank already, but hardly any videos of Devin. Look, it's going to be what it is with Devin, man. There's going to be some people that don't like him forever and a day. That's not really something that I don't know what they're not liking. I don't know why the case with him and Ring Magazine on they told him to put the title in the mail. It's a lot of shit behind the scenes that people are upset about. So I don't know how to draw a starting point as to why they feel the way they feel. You know what I'm saying? But he only been signed with Top Rank for a short period of time. And I don't know the relationship and all that stuff. Because at one point in time, he wasn't signed to Top Rank. And it was what it was, man. You know what I'm saying? But to sign with Top Rank just to fight a fight because the Bella needed a network and he had no other options. He couldn't go to PBC because they had a falling out back in the day. Yeah, he had to go over there as a default because that network, they needed Top Rank. Real talk. They needed Top Rank. So I don't know, man. I don't know what the relationship is like. I don't know, man. Rick Glaser reporting 77 K PP vibes for Wilder versus Lanius. Hey, shout out to Rick Glaser, man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Rick Glaser. It's like numbers, I don't really fuck with numbers like that. It's not like I haven't heard around about, but with those numbers, those numbers are, it's hard to believe what is what. That's all I'm saying. Like, it's hard to believe who's right, who's wrong when it comes to the numbers. Because you will hear PBC just like Gervonta Davis fight. Like Leonard put out, this was the amount of tickets that he sold. This is what the numbers were, and then somebody else put out totally different numbers. So I respect Rick being on the inside and everything like that. I'll have to talk to him about these numbers. 77K, in my opinion, is extremely low. And that will further boost, Crawford in a way that he is a seller when it comes down to it, because that's another fighter that gets no love when it comes to the numbers. But I would like to get his perspective and understanding as to why he believed the numbers are so low. Outside of people just streaming off a Fire Stick and all that, why is those numbers extremely low like that? 77K? You know what I'm saying? Like, Caleb and Darrell couldn't do anything? You know what I'm saying? The one thing we know, though, Deontay still got paid. But appreciate that information. I'm definitely going to do a follow-up with that. But thanks for dropping that info, man. 77K is just like damn near no one was even, man, come on, man. The Bronze Bomber, I just can't say that nobody wasn't looking for him to go in there and knock the dude out. Like, it's the curiosity is there, bro. I don't know, man. I don't know about that. Yeah, I did. And matter of fact, this live was going to be about Fury and Derek Chisora, a person that he fought back in 2011 and 2014, I believe. The first fight was a unanimous decision. And then the rematch that they had, he retired Derek Chisora in the 10th round. It was an RTD stoppage. So when I heard the news that he was fighting Derek Chisora outside of Oleksandr Usyk, all I did was shake my head, because once again, man, they just inject us, man. They just continue to inject us. Real talk. They continue to inject us with this disappointment, and after a while, it's just like getting a booster shot. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is this about exactly? Like, they're going in there for a trilogy that Tyson Fury's already defeated this guy twice already. He has the WBC title. He has the WBC title. So what's going to happen now? They're going to allow, and give it up for Derek Chisora. He's been in there with some big names, y'all. And a lot of those big names, he has came up short. But he has been in there with some hitters. Tyson Fury has fought this man twice already. Nobody's looking for this trilogy. Nobody's looking for this trilogy, bro. Who wants to see this trilogy when Usyk is over there with the unified titles? And then, come and find out people trying to say, okay, well, do Usyk has his word? Is he going to keep his word? We don't know. Is he going to fight Deontay Wilder? Well, he didn't show up. And supposedly he was in L.A., he was in Los Angeles, and he didn't show up. So, man, boxing is full of lies, man. Hocus pocus, hocus pocus, hocus pocus. Why are we not seeing a fight for the undisputed? Why? Because goddamn it, Eddie Hearns was trying his best to fool the people into believing that it was going to happen when Deontay was in arbitration. So now that the trilogy is over, why can't we get a fight for the undisputed? Because certain people ain't getting the money. Certain people may not believe that. I don't know what the fuck to think. He's coming off a fight with Dillian White, and now he's about to go in here and face another fighter, and Derek Chisora that he's faced twice. It's crazy, man. It's crazy, dog. All those guys are roughly on the same timetable. Oh man, it don't make any sense, bro. And Dubois, he's the co-main. What? Now he got the WBA regular. Dubois is the co-main. Okay, I got it. Dubois gets a pass. I would rather see Daniel Dubois face Jared Anderson, but we all know Jared Anderson's who he's about to step in there with Jerry Forrest. Hey, Jerry Forrest is a tough dude, man. He's only been stopped once in his career. He's been in there with some big names. Dude is tough. We saw the fight he had with Carlos Takam. Hey, man. But he lost to Carlos Takam, and then turns around, he lost to Kubrat Pulev, which once again, Jerry Forrest is kind of emulating what Derek Chisora has going on. And Dillian White. You're in there with the big names, but you can't win the big fights. If he goes in here and wins against Jared Anderson, even though Jared Anderson isn't well established yet, he's on his way, right? He isn't well established yet to be talked about as a top 5 contender. If Jerry Forrest defeats Jared Anderson, shit, I guarantee you he'll get the biggest fight of his motherfucking career coming up. But I don't see him defeating Jared Anderson at all. It's going to be a tough fight for him. It's definitely a step-up fight for Jared Anderson. Jerry Forrest is no fucking joke. Bruce Wilder, he's fighting a South African who beat Maurice Watch in a decision. Is going to take Dubois was going to take on Lucas Brown. Okay, Lucas Brown been in some wars, man. He's been in some wars. So look, it's not shocking to me that the neuro scan would show some dark gray areas. I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me that the checkup, some of the lights are off. The electricity is not on in those areas where it should be. Shout out to Candy Slim 501 with the $2 super chat on deck. What's good? He say sarcasm about Loma being an all-time great. Media said that. Okay, for sure, man. Man, hey, bro, thanks for clarifying that. Because, look, you dropped a $2 super chat to clarify the shit. That's because I'm reading what you wrote. So sometimes it does get distorted in the mix-up. But much appreciate the super chat, man. Real talk. I didn't understand. So I just read and I responded. You know what I'm saying? I mean, people always consider Lomachenko all-time great. Why? Because Ring, kept him nice and cozy and coddled, and freaking was rubbing his back and feeding him grapes, and had the lady with the palm leaves, fanning him down and shit. When he had no belts, Ring kept him on a pound for pound, no belts whatsoever. They was giving him a petty Manny, you know what I'm saying? Feeding him grapes, cheese, crackers. They just really giving him full makeover while he was chilling over there. Like I've seen Loma in person several times. He's not a bad dude, but the way the concierge freaking treatment that he gets, man, I swear to God, that ATG, they treat him like he's an all-time great. Real talk. Loma get way too much credit, bro. I don't understand. I understand because he came into this thing as a 2-time gold standard Olympian. But yet, when you look at Rigondeaux, oh my God, it's not even close, dog. It's not even fucking close. And oh my God, it's not even close, man. Like it was something special. I don't know, man. I don't know if his complexion for the detection. You know, I don't know, man. Like he could do no wrong. High tech. More like regular. You know what I'm saying? All I heard over his dad sent him to dancing classes, and wow, what an amazing transformation. Look at his footwork. It is simply phenomenal. I mean, god damn. Dude has a lot of miles on him for staying 2 tours in the Olympics, bro. I do like the boy. Glad he's on the card. He needed interview that someone he read an interview that someone posts. Okay, shout out to B.I.G. on deck. The new latest rumor is December 17th in Atlanta, Spence Crawford. Then they saying Crawford ain't trying to fight Spence no more. Which one is it? Well, look, I told people if they really want to get the maximum off Spence and Crawford, come down here to Black Hollywood. But then look, well, check this out. I can't see Spence and Crawford being the co-main event to Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. So I don't know, or I can't vision Gervonta Davis being on the co-main event because each time he's been down here, he's been the main event. So that in itself is far-fetched to me. Far-fetched. Real talk. Far-fetched to me. Neither Crawford or Spence has had a big fight card down here in the A. They haven't been down here in the A. But you know who has? Gervonta Davis. So you want me to believe that Crawford Spence is going to be the co-main event to Gervonta and Ryan Garcia? No. Now I'm gonna tell you now. I'm gonna be totally honest. If they was to put the shit together and pay the fighters right and range it to however they choose, man, it was a lot. It's a lot of people going. I'm talking about. It'll be a lot of polls empty. Stripper polls. I ain't talking about polls voting. I'm talking about stripper polls empty. It'll be people in the building. They will fight in Mercedes-Benz. I'm just doing hypothetical, okay? I'm reaching. That shit was shut down the city. It was shut down the city, bro. You got Gervonta coming. You got Crawford, Spence. It'll shut down the city. It's good for convo. Rick Glazer allegedly has a guy who works for the networks or something. Yeah, I know his connect. You know, I know who his connect is and everything. He spoke on it, you know, and all that. Real talk. Yeah. Yeah. Too many fights happen on the same day. I think that's why viewers were low. It was competitive, but all of one pay-per-view, dog. You know what I'm saying, HC? All of them was a pay-per-view to compete. You just had to be a member of ESPN Plus, in a sense. Like, PBC card, pay-per-view, you had to pay the $74.99. How much was it for you to see Devin Haney Kambosos? How much was it for you to see Carissa Shields, Savannah Marshall? So it was a UFC card, but it wasn't a UFC card on deck that people had to pay to compete with Wilder Helenius. Captain Chaos on deck with a $2 super chat in the building. Shout out to Lil Duval on steroids, Bronx on deck. Damn, dog. I'm curious. Let me see. Who are you talking about? Lil Duval on steroids, Bronx on deck. I got to figure that one out. A heavyweight live stream with Fury versus Chisora, Jared versus Forrest, and Wilder versus Helenius pay-per-view numbers would be dope. Appreciate that super chat there, Captain Chaos, man. Shout out to the wild dog in the building. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Candy Slim. Appreciate y'all. One love to you for supporting to the channel. Bob finna turn 91 2 days before TO fight. I'm curious to see how Top Rank will function once Bob is gone. Will they stay the same? I have no idea. I can't even touch that. I have no idea. They were saying Lomachenko was greater than Sweet Pea. Hey, not only that, Rashid, shout out to Rashid on deck. They were saying that comparing him to Muhammad Ali, bro. Comparing him to Muhammad Ali. Real talk. Only privileged mofos can get a championship fight and damn near the professional debut. It is certain fighters who are privileged, but we don't know the criteria for you to be privileged. That's just the thing. What is the criteria for you to be privileged? And who gets that therapeutic exemption? Who receives that? What is the paperwork? I don't know what's the paperwork for that. And then what Candy Slim is talking about is Lomachenko. You know what I'm saying? He's talking about Lomachenko. Lomachenko was 1-0 heading into a title fight. 1-0. He was 1-0, yo. And he gets a title shot. You know why? Because they promised him a title shot before he even began to record his professional fights. They promised the man a title shot. 1-0, and you get a title shot. Who does that? Who does that? And fighters, when I put it up there that certain fighters are going to get this, like I used to talk about T.O., I said, he's going to get a title shot, man. He's going to get a title shot. And they didn't believe in, he ain't experienced enough. At this point in time, you can get title shots without even having 10 professional fights. It's just all about who you are, who's moving you, and what they can benefit from you. Do they believe that you can make this happen? It's possible. They have very minimal freaking professional fights and get a title shot. It's very, very possible, man. It is not impossible. T.O. did it in 15, defended and unified in 16. Came a champion, unified in 16. Kenny Slim said the boy literally ran from T.O. 6 rounds, then made multiple excuses after he lost shoulder injury. Rest was paid off. The fight was a draw. And it's good you mentioned that, because if certain fighters, like I know they they're trying to say now that Lomachenko is healthy, that not to channel Paulie, because I talked so much about Paulie last night, but Paulie's trying to insinuate that now that Lomachenko is healthy and his shoulder's repaired, he's good to go. But I'm like, just like I would say about Sean Porter and Kenny Porter taking a fight against Terrence Crawford and trying to say he didn't prepare properly in training, don't take the fight. Lomachenko took the fight without a rematch clause. Who would do that? If you have an injury, a pre-existing injury before stepping into the ring with one of your toughest fights in Teofimo Lopez, and you have a shoulder injury, why not put a rematch clause in there? He didn't do it. So he went in there and found out T.O. was him. T.O. was him that night, and he chose to take the first half of the fight off and try to come on hard in the back end. It didn't work. Oh, let me go to stage 2. Let me hop in a hospital bed and take a picture. I'm just recovering out of anesthesia. They operated on my shoulder. I don't think I'll ever be the same. Now I'm considered low tech. I used to be high tech, but my shoulder. You know what I'm saying? He went right, and you seen the picture. Shoulder. He tried to take away what T.O. accomplished. T.O. would knock Lomachenko out right now. He will knock Lomachenko. He will stop Lomachenko if they was to go up to 140. If he was to go up to 140, it'll be a wrap. You know what I'm saying? And then not to mention that he made one of the most damning accusations that a fighter could make. You know what he had the nerve to say? He had the nerve to say that the referees was paid off. Don't nobody mention that shit. Why? Because they don't want to. They want to just keep that in the shadows, bro. This man said the referees was paid off, and don't nobody talk about it. Candy Slim mentioned it. Shout out to him for having a damn good memory. He showed enough mentioned his shoulders, put the picture up in the hospital bed with all the damn little tape, looking all droggy. Debbie says, who would you like Isaac Cruz to fight next? When I see Isaac Cruz fight, it just reminds me of Justin McCaskill with a bit more a little bit more discipline when it comes to technique. Now I'm reaching a little bit with the Justin McCaskill because she just put her head down and throw. But Isaac Cruz do the same thing a lot. You know what I'm saying? He loads up on a lot of punches, and I don't know how long he's going to be healthy that way. But as far as him fighting somebody like a JoJo Diaz, I would like to see Keyshawn Davis fight Isaac Cruz. I would like to see Keyshawn Davis because Keyshawn, they're saying, okay, well, yeah, he went in there and stopped a guy who had like 30 professional fights, right? Okay, if you're going to give him no credit and the fighter didn't fight nobody, we'll put him in there with a fighter who's been in there with a common opponent of Gervonta Davis, and he's been in there with Gervonta Davis. And he has Diego Magdaleno on his record. That would be a damn good fight. You don't think Keyshawn to be in for and get tested against Isaac Cruz? Absolutely. He goes in there and fuck up Isaac Cruz. Then it ain't. I'm telling you, I won't want to see JoJo Diaz, but that's another name. Isaac Cruz, JoJo Diaz, Keyshawn Davis. I know for a fact I don't think they'll put him in there with Shakur Stevenson. That's just the L. Just pending. That's imminent. Do I want to see him in a rematch with Gervonta? Nah, I don't. Because it's gonna take me back to Floyd Mayweather, Marcos Maidana. Marcos Maidana looked tough in the first fight with Floyd Mayweather and looked quite simple and easy for Floyd to win in the second one. Because he did all his homework, figured him out, been in there, and he got it in, man. Isaac Cruz is not going to get a fight with Lomachenko or any of that shit. That's about it, man. JoJo Diaz, Keyshawn Davis, Frank Martin. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think Isaac would give Frank Martin problems. See, with Rolly, I'm just trying to see who they're going to bring Rolly back in, because Rolly hasn't mentioned any of these names. I know Rayo was popping up is having a conversation with Rolly, talking about he'll knock him out. He ended up being stopped in the third round, but he's not done yet. But I don't know if he want to go back in there with a tough opponent like Isaac Cruz. I don't know if he's mentally there to do that. But Rolly, I don't know where his compass is at right now. You know what I'm saying? I don't know his compass. I see if Isaac Cruz goes in there against Rolly, it's gonna prove who's the stronger fighter when it comes to brawling. Cause I see both of them brawling, and let's not get it twisted. Isaac Cruz isn't a knockout artist. Let's not get it twisted on what he was able to do with Yorkis Gamboa. Don't do that. And don't make it seem like he's a motherfucking animal now when it comes to knockout power. No, that's Javante. Shout out to Captain Chaos. My name is Drew, and I drive the short bus. Damn. Shout out to Captain Chaos with the $2 super chat. Said, my name is Drew, and I drive the short bus. Hang on. I was called a chaos agent in that chat. Blunt say, at Captain Chaos, Cheyenne taught Drew how to drive the bus. Shit, he can't even be around the bus, dog. He can't be around the motherfucker. Well, I take that back. No, once you get fired from public transportation, I don't think you can be around there no more, man. I don't think you'd be around if you were showing negligence, if you were showing allegedly negligence, putting people's lives. I don't think you can get rehired. I don't think so, man. Leon Spinks got a title shot less than 10. He had 6, actually. He had 6, man. I always say this. I talked to people that was back there then, man, and they told me that it was, for Muhammad Ali to become 3-time heavyweight champion. And a lot of people look at it like, oh, they don't, it's disrespecting Muhammad Ali. And I'm just the fact what it was. He didn't get any better with his condition. He was declining. He was degrading. He was past everything that we adored him for early in his career. He allowed Leon to become heavyweight champion, bro. And then Leon lost the very next fight. So come on, man. I spoke to people who's back there, that told me the whole deal. I'm not even going to go into detail of what happened on that fight week when he fought Leon, on what they say Muhammad Ali was doing. I'm not even going to do it. Because then I have to drop the link. I have to drop the link and have people tell me what they know outside of disagreeing with me. Because I got details. W says, do you happen to have an idea about who T.O. will fight next? I heard something about Barbosa. No, it's not Barbosa. It's supposed to be Jose Pedraza, man. It's supposed to be Jose Pedraza. That guy Eclipse 330 on deck. What's going on with OG? Good to see you again, man. Salute to you, Square. How you feeling? What you been up to, man? But yeah, I gotta bounce, people. I got some shit to take care. Of. It's always good, man. We shall talk about this a little bit later. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I was gonna have a live on the Tyson Fury situation, but yeah, it's good that people tuned in and pretty much always interact with the topic at hand. You know what I'm saying? It can change up. I don't have no problem with it, but y'all do your damn thing, man. Appreciate y'all for pulling up as always. And hit the like button, man. Just hit the like button and drop back in a little later. I'm not sure what the time it will be, but I need y'all to sub to the channel if you ain't already subbed. And check out my catalog. I am trying to, post some videos that I had on my hard drive and my archives and shit that I haven't even posted on YouTube and everything. I'm trying to really put the time I went up there and covered the Cincinnati Golden Gloves. I'm trying to post the fights, the sparring sessions up there of that Golden Gloves covering the amateurs that day. Shout out to Mike Stafford and all those guys are Over the Rhine Recreation. I'm trying to clean up some of the footage that I have or some of the damn media that I have on my hard drives, man. Without making a full blown video, I'm just gonna post a raw video up there, of some of the footage that I got out there. Trying to switch some things up. But man, appreciate y'all for pulling up. And I'll be back later. Turn up a tune in to World Combat Sports. I'm out.